This is the Burg Theater that we brushed by quickly yesterday, probably not even recognizing what it was, in pursuit of that cathedral and this Rathaus. Lovely, expensive restaurant in English and in German. Well, for starters, you can have an artichoke for 20 euro. Main dish is only 23 up to 34. Terribly outrageous. Preparing these for refinishing. I'm sure there must be a very unique pleasure in coming to the theater dressed to the nines and understanding what the play is about in your language. It's interesting to imagine how in the day the royals could bring their carriages in around the circular driveway into the building itself, or they could actually go through this area here. It'd be interesting to know how it was used, who had what right to do what. The thing apparently is just finished being restored on the outside, whatever that meant in the time. These men are disassembling the scaffolding. How they're probably required, since I've seen it quite a bit, to actually enclose the scaffolding with a netting, probably to keep both debris that might fall off this facade of plaster, as well as to safety. This was my intended starting point, right where the circle is, called Freyung. We're going to walk down through this large square, which ironically I was at yesterday, and then we're going to take this little hook downward and to the right onto Naglergasse Street, and then that will tie into what looks like Am Graben, but instead of being a small street, it's actually a very wide pedestrianized street that goes down quite a distance. Today I came here after I was through with my main walkabout, just as a strategy for returning back to the hostel in a different direction. Ironically, I came exactly this way, and that statue I already had a video clip of. Somewhere down here we're going to find that little street that hooks off, and it may be where those bicycles just went. Behind me is this patch of rock on the sidewalk, as opposed to the beautiful sidewalks installed. And my guess is this is just some of the original walkway that was here. Now, what the term original would mean in this context, I don't know. So there we are. Laster der Freyung, which is where we're at. Probably that means year 1200. So this is pavement that would have been walked on 800 years ago. And so I will return 800 years. Glimpse at Freyung. Just another of the many squares. Right now we're just walking along that little tongue, and right where that man is walking is where we're going to go. See, it says Naglergasse. We are at Naglergasse. He wants a narrow little alley. Well, they say it was. Whatever that means in the context of the past. And it leads us into the Graben. This I did not happen to notice, because there's no reason to notice if you hadn't had prior knowledge. This is just the beginning of a shopping street that for some reason has some history to it. The shop may be part of that history. These original window shutters, perhaps? This is the part that would have been exposed to the public at night. Here it's just left as it is. Imagine when that key lock hole was fresh. Well, now the door is cattywampus, but I can't figure out why, unless that upper hinge is somehow stretched. These may be some remnants, not unusual in my walkabout in Vienna. These old storefronts. Notice how, and these are probably reproductions, but notice how these windows can be swung, unlocked and swung open, so you can fix your display. Not anything original, this is the normal that you'd see today. An Oreo window, if that's what they're called, with perhaps a reminiscent door. Imagine in the day when people would open up those shutter windows and look outside, see what was going on. Stories may be authentically interesting. So reminiscent of British type pubs all throughout the UK. Probably nothing old about that unless it's an antique placed here for interest. Looking inside, that several of these have vaulted ceilings that may have been the original. Just the detail on these corners. Is this original? You hope it is. A little chunk of wood is missing from there. This interior wall that had a door hinge on it. Here's this beautiful castle-like building that I may have shot from that front yesterday. I don't know if this was an original signage, 1683, or whether it's just made to look that way. Nor do I know what this was. But we'll take a quick look. It may be it has that ancient lineage as a restaurant. It just may be. And I did walk down the street yesterday. I remember this Apple store. A hint of the past. Nice big windows. This looks old and interesting, but the date on it says 1992. This is the problem. What's old, what's not? We exit Naglergasse at this impressive multi-street intersection and enter the Graben. And notice down there, I'm just roaming about. We're on a small street parallel to Graben and also parallel to the street I walked up to get to the Easter egg dome. Like classic old buildings. Phrase. These look like classic old storefront buildings, even with their old awnings. Whether those are original, I don't know. Grates are new, but we can get beyond that. For a nice pastry shop, but without having to go back to Demmer. Looks like a classic old entryway. Like an older storefront. Walking back towards the Graben, just noticed this good size entryway of what must have been an important person's home. And older storefront. Nice quiet street. I seem to wonder how long this has been a music store. It's quite large. The place smells wafting up the street. After searching in a large sweeping circle a block or two off of Graben, I finally found a pastry shop, and then I was inundated with them. This is a statue of Lessing in this square that I have no idea how to get out of to get to the Graben again. This is Judenplatz, because to my left you'll see an officer there, and there's a Jewish museum right to his left, which is why I'm shooting in a funny way. Now we're coming back out onto the Graben. That may be the back of that Judengraben, but I can't be sure. Imperial Carlo something or other. You're around enough, I begin to recognize places. Yesterday I apparently walked down that street and saw this building here and stood right there where that statue is, and then walked on. And you recall earlier today, I think, we were back in behind where that yellow building is and saw that castle-like building. I have no idea what this temporary type building is. It's obviously made out of plywood that's weathering after being painted with this scene of the past. So far around looking for the pastries that this is Naglergasse again. Back sitting on a bench where I wanted to be at the end of the Graben. If only I'd turned left instead of right, I would have found half a dozen bakeries. And I came out through there.